Dr. Laura here, and I wanted to personally congratulate you on your purchase of your orthotics. I think it's a fabulous, number one, they are a fabulous item. I use them. They have supported my arch and really the whole chain up for many years, so I'm really thrilled that you decided to make the investment, because it was that, in yourself, and I'm so happy that you got them. So I wanted to just go over, we talked in person about the wear and the care, but I think it's important to go over them again. Then you always have this. So the first thing is we don't wear them full on right away. As we talked about, it's an accommodation phase. So sometimes, just like if you're just starting to work out, you're just getting a massage, you're starting to eat differently, your body's going to adapt to this thing that is now supporting that arch, giving you biomechanical correction and support. So don't be surprised if other things ache, twist, bend, all goodness one. That's supposed to happen as we go through the accommodation phase. Probably similar to when you started to come for your adjustments. If you remember way back when, the body's now getting used to a different space, different movement patterns. So number one, don't be surprised at that. But we still don't go and wear the orthotics full on right away. We start at 2 hours a day. Wear them a couple days at 2 hours, and then we add 2 hours each day. So midweek you would go to 4 hours. End of the week you would go to 6 hours. Middle of the next week you go to 8 hours. So we work up to wearing them 8 hours a day. That is if you are on your feet all the time, which is a little tricky because if you work from home, if you're not on your feet, we really can't count the time. But many people are up and down so much that that they can count. The majority of the time they're on their feet. So that's the accommodation. Now, within 2 weeks, you should be up to the 8 hours. If you feel that you're like, you know what, I just want to hang out at the 2 hours, stay at the 2 hours and just build up from there. So that's the first. Let's go over the care. So care of them in terms of if they get dirty, damp cloth, soap and water, wipe them both sides. If they get wet, if you step in a puddle and they get really soaking wet, don't fear, they're not going to fall apart, but don't put them in the dryer. And don't take a hair dryer to them, direct heat. What you want is indirect airflow. So over top of a dish rack or over top of not even a grate on the floor, it has to be up. So air can get at both sides and then flip over and dry. If you find they squeak, if you find they lift, that could be a two-pronged problem. First is we haven't taken out. So if there's an insole in your shoe, it will be a little bit glued, but we take that out, especially if you've got the long orthotics. If you've got the sulcus or the 3/4, you can probably put that in over top. I would like to look at your shoe to most likely we take out what is in there because you'll get an extra height. If you've done that and they still squeak, talcum powder or cornstarch, top, bottom. If you feel that they smell, which they won't, but some people do, same thing, talcum powder or baby powder on the top surface. Trimming them. So what I want you to do is take sometimes that toe box we call, which is the front part. That is not the corrective part of the orthotics. The corrective part is in the arch and anything around that area. So the toe box is really just for the comfort part, and we can go ahead and trim that. So if you're like, this is not fitting into my shoe, either we've looked at the wrong shoe size, or sometimes there's a little bit difference from left side to right side or shoe to shoe. So just take some scissors, trace, take out the insole that's in the shoe, the one that came with it that's glued down, put it on the orthotic and trim, and you can just slide that orthotic back in. Do save the insoles that you've taken out, because as we're going through that accommodation phase, you'll need something to put back in your shoes. Then what I do is keep those insoles. If or when, say you lose the orthotics, say something has happened, you need something in your shoes, put those orthotics in the bag that I gave you that the orthotics are, and tuck them somewhere. If there is something that is really just not right, we will work together. Let's say in a month, you're usually a patient in the office here, so we will be asking you. We need to give it some time to accommodate. But they are large investments. So if there's something that's really just not quite right, I want you to be able to speak up to say, Dr. Laura, I think we'll have a conversation. We may have to send them back, which means you will be without your orthot, or we figure out a way to make it right. So we work with you on that. And they're only as good as if you wear them. So they're not good in the box and they're not good. I've had people say, well, I've had orthotics and they're in my purse. I laugh and said, they're only as good as when you wear them. So they're only going to do the biomechanical correction and give you support for whatever the issue was that we said that we're going to try to resolve if you wear them. And speaking of that, I look to replace them every 2 years because they've done what they've done. Just like things wear over time, the weight of us on the orthotics, yes, our weight can change, but they can flatten and they can be, and also the issue with which 2 years ago they were correcting probably is different. So we look to replace them every 2 years. So I hope that's helpful. Please reach out. I'll see you at your next visit. And I'm so glad again that we have decided to invest in the orthotics for you.